Okay, so this is Mr. Garb here. We're going to solve some rational equations. Now this involves getting a common denominator, a least common denominator. It involves some cross multiplication. So solving rational equations incorporates adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, kind of putting them all together. It's the reason why I did this. And then in the next class we will review graphing and have our quiz next Monday the 8th. So that's why I'm doing this now. All right, here we go. So the most straightforward is when we have a proportion like this. Okay, if we have just proportion, we can do cross products. Let's say this. Cross products, so the product of the means, 7x, equals the product of the extremes, 4 times x minus 6. We multiply that out and solve. So we have 7x is equal to 4x minus 24. And then we're going to get 3x is equal to negative 24, and x is equal to negative 8. And you always check your solutions, okay? Remember to check your solutions, very important, to see if they make sense, if we have something that's discontinuous, if it makes the denominator equal to 0. So we should always check those up. This one's okay. If we put negative 8 in here, that's fine. It works. So we'll get 7 over negative 14 is equal to 4 over negative 8, so it's negative 1/2 equals negative 1/2. Check. Now over here we can also do cross products because we have one proportion equals another. When we have a proportion, two ratios equal to each other, we can use cross products. So 8 minus a minus 8 times 7 is equal to 3 times 2a minus plus 1. As long as those values don't make the denominator equal to 0, we're okay. So we have 7a minus 56 is equal to 6a plus 3. So we'll get a is equal to 59. Moving on down, every problem's a little different. I know they look like they're the same, but you'll see that every problem offers something a little different. So we write our answers down here. We x bracket negative 8 bracket because we could have more than one answer, so we use the big brackets. A is equal to bracket 59. So please put your final answers in brackets like that because you could have more than one. Now down here, we'll try cross products. As long as r doesn't equal 0 or r doesn't equal 1, that should be okay. So cross products, 4 times r minus 1 is equal to r squared. So 4r minus 4 is equal to r squared. So we set the quadratic equal to 0. So actually subtract 4r and add 4. Subtract 4r and add 4. And you get 0 is equal to r squared minus 4r plus 4. And then try to factor that out. And we get 0 equals r minus 2. R minus 2. So we get r minus 2 equals 0, or r minus 2 equals 0. So that means that r equals 2 and r equals 2. And the way that we write the final answer is just one set of r. We just have to write r is equal to 2 once. We don't duplicate the answer and write it twice. That's called multiplicity, when we have the same answer more than once. When a graph touches an axis and then bounces off. That's a bounce. Okay. So we try our cross products here, as long as m doesn't equal 2. Let's see what happens. And what are we going to get? We're going to get m plus 3 times m minus 2 over equals 3 times 8. So we're going to get m squared plus m minus 6 is equal to 24. Subtract that 24, and we get m squared plus m minus 30 equals 0. And then we'll get m plus 6, m minus 5 equals 0. So we get m equals negative 6 and m equals 5. And then we write out the answer. M is equal to, and then they're in increasing order, negative 6 and then 5. Okay, just to be formal. Keep on going here. Making progress, picking up steam. So we try our cross products first and see if that works. So we'll have y times y plus 5 is equal to 3 times y plus 8. Multiply that out, we're going to get y squared plus 5y equals 3y plus 24. Set it equal to 0. So we subtract 3y, subtract 24 from both sides, we get y squared plus 2y minus 24 equals 0. So we got y plus 6 times y minus 4 equals 0. So we get y equals negative 6, y equals 4, and that's okay. It doesn't cause the denominator to equal 0 or have a vertical asymptote. So y is going to equal to negative 6 and 4. Okay, last one, and then we're going to switch to a different type, I think. So try cross products. Again, whenever you have a proportion, you can do cross products. You just have to check your answers to see if they work. So we're going to get 2x minus 3 times x plus 4 equals 2 times 3. So when you get 2x squared plus 8x minus 3x minus 12 equals 6. Subtract that 6, subtract the 6 from both sides, you get 2x squared plus 5x minus 18 equals 0. And try to factor that out. So it's going to be 2x and x in order to get 18. So you can try plus 9. Now in order to get negative 18, it can be 6 and 3. So I think the right way is going to be plus 9 minus 2. That'll give you minus 4 and plus 9, so that'll give you plus 5x, that's right. So you're going to x is equal to negative 9 halves, and x is equal to 2, and that does not cause a problem in my denominator. So I have x is equal to negative 9 halves, comma 2. That's our answer to that one. Okay, so pretty smooth sailing so far. What happens sometimes is we have another method here that we have to learn. So we just did this method right here where we did proportions. Okay, we did cross multiplication, but sometimes we have to use the lowest common denominator and multiply it by each side. Okay, so that's what we need to talk about here. So I'll take a look here. So you find the least common denominator of both sides. So you have 3n and 6, and the least common denominator for that is going to be 6n. So 6n is what you multiply both sides by. Okay, so you're going to find LCD and then multiply it by both sides. Okay, so we'll do that. If we multiply by 6n, we're going to get 2n times 4. So it's going to be 24n over 3 minus 42n over n is equal to 6n over 6. Now we simplify and we get 8n minus 42 equals n. Then we try to get the n's on both sides, so we're going to get minus n minus n. We're at 7n minus 42. 42 equals 0, so we get 7n is equal to 42. We get n is equal to 6. Put 6 in there, we can. 6 can work, so we have n is equal to just 6. Alright, so over here we find the LCD. What's the LCD? It's going to be 2k. So we multiply both sides by 2k. If we do that, we're going to get 6k over k minus 2k over 2 equals 24k over k. Simplify, we get 6 minus k equals 24. Alright, we subtract and we get negative k equals 18. So k is equal to negative 18. Check to see if that causes a problem, and the answer does not. So k is going to equal to negative 18. Alright, so keep going. Sometimes we could have no solution. We gotta look out for special cases. So keep an eye out for that. So look at all the denominators. Now this factors to p minus 2 times p plus 2. That's the difference of two perfect squares. We have a p minus 2 here. So the least common denominator for both sides is going to be p minus 2, p plus 2. So that's what we multiply both sides by. So multiply that by both sides. What do we get here? We get p times p plus 2. If we divide it out. Okay, now here, plus the 2, so it's going to be 2 times the whole thing. 2 times p minus 2, p plus 2. See that what's meant? See here, the p minus 2 divides out. We just have the p plus 2 here. Here we need the whole denominator's not there. So what's happening here is we have the whole denominator. So we multiply 2 times the whole denominator. On the right hand side we have the whole denominator, so we just set it equal to 8. So now we multiply it through p squared plus 2p plus, and it's going to be 2 times p squared minus 4 equals 8. Now we simplify that, and we get p squared plus 2p plus 2p squared minus 8 equals 8. Simplify that, and we get 3p squared plus 2p minus 16 equals 0. We subtract the 8, subtract the 8. Now we try to factor that guy, and we get 3p plus 8 times p minus 2 equals 0. We factor that out. There's only a few combinations that work, so that's trial and error. So we get p is equal to negative 8 thirds, and p is equal to 2. But then we go back and see that 2 is going to be a problem because it's going to make the denominator equal to 0. So that's going to be an extraneous solution. So we're going to have p is just equal to negative 8 thirds. Moving on here. Now what's our least common denominator here is going to be 9 times w minus 1. You need w minus 1 because you have this, and this is 3 times w minus 1. So if you just made it 9 times w minus 1, that would work. So it's going to be 13 times 3. 13 times 3 minus 1 times 9 equals w times, what's missing? W minus 1. Because 9 goes in there, so it's w times w, right, that's right. So now I multiply this out, we're going to get 39 minus 9 equals w squared minus w. So we're going to have 30 equals w squared minus w. So we set that equal to 0, we're going to get 0 equals w squared minus w minus 30. So we factor that out and we get w minus 6 and w plus 5 equals 0. So we're going to get w equals 6 and w equals negative 5. Doesn't cause a problem in any of the denominators. So we have, I should write that out the other way. It should be negative 5 comma 6, putting in ascending order. Those are 2 values of w. Alright, moving on here. Now our common denominator here is going to be the x plus 3 is our LCD. Multiply it by on the left by the LCD, and we're going to get x plus 6 equals, now 2 is over 1, so that's missing the whole thing, so it's 2 over x plus 3, and then minus, and then 5x plus 12. Make sure you keep that parenthesis and open it up later. So you get an x plus 6 is equal to 2x plus 6. Subtract, open up the parentheses, minus 5x minus 12. Now combine, so you have x plus 6 is equal to negative 3x minus 6. Now combine like terms, you have 4x, add 3x, right? Add 3x, yes. We have 4x plus 6 equals negative 6. So we have, did we get that right? So if, right, add 4x, so we're going to get 4x equals negative 12, right? Yeah. So we have 4x, and then we subtract 6 and subtract 4, so 4x is equal to negative 12. So we get x is equal to negative 3. But then we look here and we say, okay, put negative 3 back in, that's going to make the denominator equal to 0. So that's going to be a problem, so therefore we have no solution. So we show that we get a solution, but then we show that it doesn't work. Now the last one is c times c minus 4 is our LCD, because that's c times c minus 4 there. So on the left side, we're just going to have 3 times c minus 2. On the right side, we have missing a c, so it's going to be c times c. And then 1, it's the whole thing, so it's c times c plus c minus 4. So over here, we're going to have 3 minus 2. Over here, we're going to have c squared minus c squared plus 4c. So 3c minus 2, right. So we're going to have 3c minus 2 is equal to 4c, because these are going to add to 0. So then we're going to get what? C is equal to negative 2. We check to see if that's a problem. We put c negative 2 back in. That's not a problem. So we have c is equal to negative 2. And that's it.